Well, I have here a Victrola 11, Victrola the 11th, 1917 in mahogany. This is very early in the year. It is still a G suffix on the serial number, and it's old enough not to have the glass speed indicator dial, and it has two individual spring drums still on the motor. And it's in pretty good original condition. Nobody's been messing with this machine. I like to see them like this. You know, the finish is a little dull and dirty, needs some cotton cleansing, that's for sure. But nobody's been molesting it. Let's take a look under the lid. Already took the turntable off. It's not missing, trust me. Okay. Now, this is serial number 363451G. Like I said, early 17. The patent sticker on the back still says 1916 on it. So we've got some nails stuck up there on the rail there. I have to take care of that. Some goodies. I found this under the turntable. That's the tungstone needles. There's still 9 of them in. Not 9 of them. There's 7 of them in there. Always nice to find. And this. This is the reproducer box. Let me see. Get that open one-handed. Full of needles. But this is the reproducer storage box for the exhibition reproducer, and it's in beautiful condition. These are, in this condition, probably about $50 on eBay all the time. And always looking for them too, so that's nice. So you can keep the reproducer in there. Some extra needles back there, little extras that came with it. It had a bit of a hum to the motor when I cranked it up, and it was big time thumping and bumping. So this has definitely not been serviced. Probably since 1917, but who knows? I'm sure it's been sitting somewhere a very, very long time. Well, let's see if I can get that up. There we go. Here's our motor. And the humming was quickly figured out when I discovered that. Yeah. Broken weight, not a big deal. They're easy enough to rebuild, and I have plenty of parts to do that. I have new spring sets, and let me see if I can find it in down there. If you can see it in the dark, probably can't. I'll get the flashlight. I found the weight. It's down there. I'm sure when that let go, it sounded like a gunshot flying around in there. Let me see if I can manage this for you. Where did it go? Well, I'm just going to have to stick the camera down there into the depths. See if we can see it. Hiding way in the back of the case. There it is. See it back there with that little drift of needles? These always have spent needles in them. Well, who knows if they're spent or not, but we're not going to use them. Don't take any chances. There we go. Motor looks very clean. I don't think anybody's been messing with it. There is plenty of, black dried grease, black graphite grease on the gears and all of that, but look at the spring drums, nice and clean. It's not all gooped up. Still has a little bit of a shine to the frame. Look at that, the condition of the felt washer. In very good shape. There's the oiling diagram. Now, if this had been probably a month or two newer, this would have had the improved motor with the single spring barrel with 2 springs tucked inside. Not that it's better or worse than this, just different. Just different. When they changed things on the motors, it usually was to streamline production, lower costs, and, and still keep the quality, of course, but they wanted to streamline it a little bit, and they did that continually as the product line went on. The 11 was around for a long, long time. In 1911, yeah, and they stopped, I believe, 1921, 1920? And then it just became, I think, the Victrola 90. That's all. They changed a little bit and gave it a new name. This was the quintessential Victrola. The biggest selling Victrola in the history of the Victor company was the 11. It was this machine. So chances are, if you encountered one in an American household in the teens and 20s, it was going to be this model. Right here. The Victrola 11. They made literally 700,000 or more of these in oak and mahogany. Those were your choices, in various stain colors. This is red mahogany, but they had other ones too. Oh, and later on you could get walnut. My last one was actually a walnut 11. So they gave you a try. I think that came along when 1918, 1919, something like that. But most of them would have been red mahogany because that was definitely the finish of choice in that era. You know, everybody liked that look, the dark mahogany look. And so a lot of Victrolas of this type are going to be mahogany. Let's see. Now, do you notice something you don't see too often? It's got the key. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. Never, ever lock a Victrola with the lid down. Just don't do it. Because if that lock broke in any way, you are never getting that lid off without damaging something, probably pretty severely. Look at this lock. Now, let's see if I can do this. No, it's the other way. Oh, drop the key. All right, maybe I should sit down and try this. Let's see, where did that key go? Don't want to lose the key, because these things are like 45, 50 bucks. Okay. Come on. It's a little stiff. Ah, there we go. Look at that setup there. You're not getting that out. When it goes up in there and those little ears snap in, you're going to have to chisel the wood to get this lock out. You cannot drill it, or there's no magic screws to take out to get it off. So if you don't have a key for one of these machines, don't buy one. This way you're not tempted to lock it. And if you do have a key, put it away. There we go. Don't put it on the machine, tempting somebody else to lock it when you're not around. Because I have actually seen machines that were locked, and I guess the locks broke or something happened to them, and they destroyed the lids. They actually broke the hinge. I have a parts machine, another 11 in fact, where they broke the entire back of the lid, where the hinge is back there, to get it open. It was a shame too. It was a nice oak model, and it pretty much destroyed. Then they stuck it in a shed, and it just, well, the rest of it went bad after that. The bugs got at it and everything else. Only good for parts now. Now here's something else. A lot of times, like on eBay, stuff like that, you're going to see people who don't know anything about Victrolas call this the record storage, even on the smaller machines. And you'll see them sticking records in here. And look what I found. There's a couple of 45s in there. There's another one you really can't see, but there's another one behind that. You can just barely make out the label in there a little bit, maybe. Somebody was using it as record storage. The real record storage is, of course, in the bottom. This has all the nice shelves, and it's also a good place to keep snacks when you don't want anybody pilfering them. And you see, you can put quite a few record albums in these machines. All very, very nicely made. This is an in-house cabinet, I believe. Victor did make this in the cabinet factory, and probably because of the super high production. And it's just such a nicely made cabinet. Everything is perfect. And on this particular machine, this has no veneer issues. Now, these all used veneers. All the big machines from the 16 on down. The only time you don't get veneers on a Victrola is if it's one of these, the small Victrola 4 or the 6. And even those, even the 6s later on did use some veneer on the top. But the body of that machine is solid wood. The body of this machine, all this is all veneer. It's veneer over various other woods. I'm not really sure what they used under there. Obviously some kind of hardwood. You never see them in bad shape, really. This is solid here. You know, the front and the end rails, that's all solid. Up here, that's all solid mahogany. You know, but all the rest, this is all veneers. And if they get damp, the hide glues they use can cause this veneer to lift. Now that can be corrected. If it's not all splintered and broken and missing, you can usually put some good old Elmer's wood glue underneath the veneer, clamp it back down, leave it alone, come back a day later, and it's good. It's fine. You're basically using the same glues they used back when. But if it's all shredded and pieces, especially like at the bottom, it'll get that way sometimes. This machine has no such issues whatsoever. All the veneer is rock solid. It's good. Look at that on the doors. That's nice. That's how you want to see it. Lower doors. Really good shape. And on the lid, that's another place. The top of the lid is where it loves to lift, and it has not done that. with this machine, which tells me this machine was stored somewhere out of the damp. It wasn't left in the basement or something like that. Was probably still in the house until it ended up in the antique shop where I found it. You know, maybe it was in the, it could have been in an attic. That's definitely a possibility. But even the alligatoring on the finish is not severe at all. It's only very light. So I'm guessing this one might have still had pride of place in the house. They might not have been using it, but it was there. Yeah, that's Grandma's Victrola. Yeah, we keep that, you know, memory, and then finding one day, well, get rid of it. You can see what the original finish looked like simply by looking under the lids on these things. Look at that. Beautiful red finish. And it really hasn't gotten too faded. This will clean up a bit with cotton cleanser. Some of that is just ancient dirt that's been settling on it for many, many years. Buildup of furniture polish, things like that. Let me see. Turn this around. We'll take a look. Add the patent sticker. This panel back here removes, and this is how you access your horn compartment. You see somebody got careless with the paint over here, but at least it's on the back. There is the license notice for the Victor 11. That's XI, Victor 11. August 1st, 1916. The Victor Talking Machine Company. And look at the back of that. I mean, it's in really, really nice, solid condition. Which is really the only reason why I picked this machine up, because I generally don't have room for a whole lot of these floor models, and I don't really need another. I already have an Oak 11. I really didn't need another one, but it was so nice that I said, all right, you know, we're going to make an exception with that one. And I probably will eventually move it on, but in the meantime, I'm going to fix it, repair it. And there's another little problem over here. The escutcheon, you can see the center is missing. Very common. They get worn and stuck to the crank. The crank I have elsewhere. But that's okay because I have a spare. I have a spare to put on there. That's going to be repaired. It's not going to be a problem at all. This will be playing again. Probably not today, but eventually. You know, I work slow, so we'll get it done. See this side too. A few little paint splatters I got to deal with. Scuffs. Minor stuff. All very minor stuff. But there you go. There's an initial look at the Victrola 11 mahogany. It's actually the first one I had, the mahogany. The last one was walnut. My first one was oak. And the parts machine is oak. So this is actually the first mahogany 11 I've had. 38345 1G 1917.